1-0 down. Reverse of their match or in the groups. Let's see what Ishikawa can do now.
Ishikawa's had some strong play in the past. She played the World Tour Grand Finals in 2014 in front of a large crowd for $100,000 in prize money and beat a chopper who seemed to be unstoppable, Seo-won. So she's had some strong victories against choppers at 23 years old, currently world ranked number 5. And there's a lot of speculation. We've got Rio coming up, but in Tokyo in 2020, with all the young players from Japan right now, Mima Ito, Miu Hirano, Hitomi Sato, Miu Kato, so many different players that could make a very strong 2020 Olympic team. But right there, RI Myong Sun, 24 years old, world rank number 37. Quite a strong player. She won her match earlier against Yu Meng Yu in the 2nd spot versus Singapore. But the match we just saw, just to keep in mind as far as world rankings go, Kim Song-yi, world rank number 89, just beat world rank number 12, 3 games straight, not allowing more than 7 points in any one game. Some of this could be the confidence. Yeah, that's tough right there for Mima Ito. Well, I think she's got a bright future ahead of her, but this is very exciting for Korea DPR. When you only get to come out a few times a year, I mean, that's a very hopeful face right there. It looks quite similar to Mima Ito's, but just a subtle difference behind the eyes. Both sitting there sweating and sort of stone-faced, watching in anticipation. So Kasumi Ishikawa, currently world ranked number 5, has won twice in their head-to-head matchup. 3 times RI Myong Sun won. And the most recent was in 2014 at the Asian Cup. It was a 3-2 victory for RI Myong Sun. The most recent victory for Kasumi Ishikawa just a few days ago here in this tournament. 3 games to 1.
First game.
We'll see. I always find it interesting watching Kasumi Ishikawa play, how she chooses to use being left-handed. She's got an excellent inside-out forehand, service variation, and touch. Not known for being overly powerful, but we'll see how it goes here. Jill, you looked a little bit surprised at some of those touch shots that came a little long.
Well, it seemed as though the ball was wavering. I don't know if it's the pimples that's making the ball wave from her shots, because she played it some across court. So I think it had to take a little while to get into the groove, to get to her strokes. It's always, I think it always takes longer for a defender to get going at the beginning of end of a game than an attacking player, because you want to get you the length, and then you've got to try and change the spin on your defensive shots. And then you've got to be looking, if possible, to try and come in and attack the ball.
Right, I guess the lengths are very important when you're playing mainly defense, because you're giving the opponent a lot of time to react. Just varying it up. I think that's one of the toughest things to do against defenders, is notice and recognize when it's a heavy chop, lighter chop, a floater. I mean, the deception factor is very high for the player who's defending.
Yes, but I think for attackers, you know, you just got to practice against defense. But then there are defenders that play totally different. Some will retrieve and away from the table a lot. Some are back closer to the table and attack more.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Everybody's different. That's a face right there. Thoughtful Kasumi Ishikawa. That's always a difficult thing to do. As far as adjusting, some players, the attackers, sometimes take a little more time to settle into how to hit through the higher balls deep on the table. I think that ball that looked wavery and wiggly early on might have been contacted from below the table. A little bit of fishing, sort of snake action.
That's good there. She floated that and then thought, well, it could possibly come up, and it did slightly, and she was ready in there for the forehand winner.
And I think that's a great strategy. Defenders, whenever they float the ball, to come running in immediately in case the push is the choice. this is really tough for me to call right now, and I guess it's not my job to predict the outcome of the match. But I'm almost nervous watching it because I can feel the pressure for both players out here. It's a lot riding on this match.
Well, it's a semi-final, so they'll all be giving it 100%.
5-4.
But then again, whether it's first round, second round, players will always give their 100% or should do.
Yeah, and especially in the teams event. I mean, it's just they're responsible for more than just themselves, held accountable by the team.
4-6.
And that's subtle contact right there. Kasumi Ishikawa not following through much, sort of coming to a halt right at contact. Look at that, barely even crossing the line with the racket, and it made it very difficult for RI Myong Sun to read.
5-6.
That's placement, a little bit of inside-out spin, and just wide enough. Wasn't even the fastest shot. Kasumi Ishikawa had trouble getting there to cover.
No, as you said, it wasn't fast, but you know, the placement, placed wide. You don't always have to hit the ball hard just to win a point.
Outstanding play and a big point from Kasumi Ishikawa. The touch shot there up near the table. A little bit of side spin. It's a good amount of side spin there, but still taking advantage of having RI Myong Sun close to the table, hitting it right into the body. Jill, I feel like we're watching two gladiators out here. Just thinking about the training that they go to stand two people across from each other on a table in front of thousands of people, watching, cheering, screaming, to see how well they outthink and outperform each other out here.
Oh, it's just lovely, lovely to watch. I love watching a defender against an attacking player, and I'm sure the fans out here and the crowd are loving watching the great table tennis and the various shots that they're doing.
I don't think there's any question about that. Whether you're rooting for one side or the other, or just here to watch great table tennis, you're going to be getting an outstanding show either way. Now we've got 5 game points. It was back and forth for a bit. Looked like it could have been RI Myong Sun who was taking the game. But then from 5-5, Ishikawa now in a great position to take game 1.
10-6.
A little bit of an unusual shot selection there. Haven't seen too many backhand loop attempts. Although I think off the serve is a good time to do it if you can, early in the point. Vary up the spin and pace on the ball to earn a higher, more attackable shot next. Patient play from Ishikawa as she watches the ball sail just inches past the back of the table. It's 11-6 and game 1 to the Japanese player. We'll be back for game 2 after this short break. Right there in the crowd, next to the camera, we've got Kasumi Ishikawa's practice partner, training partner, 2 rows behind her, her coach, Chun-Li Lee. Kasumi Ishikawa actually speaking Mandarin at a quite high level. Chinese practice partner and coach. Good opportunity.
Love 1.
If you want to know a little bit more about Kasumi Ishikawa, you can check out her Off the Table or Ask a Pro Anything on the official ITTF YouTube channel.
Good placement there to the middle. That's the most difficult place for a defender. They've got to decide whether they're going to play a forehand or a backhand.
Inside out forehand, back at the table. Kim Song-hee showing her threat again. It's been a while since she's won some points that way after the long streak, but look at how much side spin she put on that ball. She came across the inside of it. Oh, just the edge. She's been so in control throughout that point. Oh, they're arguing about it.
I think it might be a side.
To me, that's top. I think as long as it touches any bit of the top edge. Interesting. It's definitely not an easy call.
Because I think maybe she hit it from the side.
Well, to me, it looked like she started from inside the table, but because of the side spin, it actually bent out and back in, which is what it looked like Kasumi Ishikawa was presenting as a case. Yeah, I mean, different angles are going to make this look different. This is the first one we saw it from. Let's see.
2-0.
Difficult to...
It was a tough call. For me, the standard is, Jill, if it reacts the way it would if it hit a wall, it's side. Sometimes the ball will come up because of spin from that position. If it reacts differently than if it hit a wall, that means some of the top edge was involved. Seems like Kasumi Ishikawa's got her head right back into the next point and then some. And this is what professionals learn to do. I mean, many of these players have mental coaches working on their psychological game, strategy, visualizing, and of course, not dwelling on the past. Learning from it if they can, but moving forward, being present.
Yeah, you can't dwell on a point that's gone. You've got to look to the future, forget about it.
I think changing the past in general is sort of a worthless effort. And that stroke right there really came over the top, straight through. Very nice variation on her attacks from Myong Sun. Just misses the contact this time. It looked like it was a bit of a rush decision to turn after going through all those chops. Ball placed sort of on the middle. Try to step around and attack. She's shown us, though, that she's capable of these shots. Sometimes ball slips based on humidity. We've seen that happen here a few times. Tropical weather here. finally she misses. What does it take? Kasumi Ishikawa watching every ball with laser precision. I mean, the topspin coming in, the blocks, everything. Jill, gotta love that point.
Oh. She was so consistently chopping and top spinning, but so clever play, in and out, a slow one.
I think she must have hit the white on the line about 9 or 10 times in that rally, right at the baseline. Quickly tied right back up. After some of those real marathon points, it feels like they're worth more points, but then you turn around and 2 or 3 shot rally and it's tied right back up looking at the scoreboard. And I love how she turns back to the bench as the ball passes, fist pumped. Again, this is a good sign. Very focused, bringing it home for the team. At least that's the plan. Another break off the edge, no question about that one hitting the top. That's just the way it goes. You know, from a service setup standpoint, Kasumi Ishikawa's got several tricky serves we haven't seen a ton of. She's got ones that kick way out wide to the forehand side for a right-handed player. She's even got one that bounces and kicks back into the body, served on the forehand side.
7, 6.
As far as deceptive serves go, RI Myong Sun pulls one out for an outright point. Jill, I mean, you know this as well as anyone, but a point is a point. As a defender, it could take you 100 shots or it could be a serve. That's it.
That's exactly it. And it doesn't matter how you get them, they all count.
A little bit off the top of the net, a blocking game, a little bit more passive. We're seeing all sorts of different demonstrations for how to earn a point out here. But never is it easy. We had 94 different countries at this tournament, 78 women's teams. In the top 24 play in the Champions Division, only 4 left. 2 right here fighting for the final 2 spot in the finals. Little indecision, changes her mind and tries to play the top spin back, gives Ishikawa the lead. And again, credit to Ishikawa for the placement there, right on the body. The crossover point, which forced the hesitation. Strong attack, but I really think that Kasumi Ishikawa is going to make that shot most of the time. It could be tension. And also just the forehand attack. A lot of defenders have this. There's so much variation because they're not hitting at every shot. Sometimes a little inside out, sometimes deeper on the table. Bit unpredictable, the forehand attack of a chopper.
I'm surprised she did that. Okay, 1, but 2.
You know, when she was playing Yu Meng Yu earlier, she had points where she had to loop 4 in a row and won the point on her 4th loop. Might have only happened once or twice, but she definitely got into a looping mode and was rewarded kindly for it. Now we've got 2 game points for Ishikawa to go up 2 games to 0. She's got the serves here as well. Yeah, the stroke seemed a little bit jammed here. There it is, a spinny shot. The attempted counter loop does not connect. And it's Ishikawa leading 2 games to 0 after an 11-6 and now 11-8 victory. Game 3, she's going to want to get out of this one quickly. Stick around, game 3 right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, attention. No flash photography allowed during the match. Refrain from using flash photography during the match. Thank you very much.
Sometimes you don't take a red.
As we come back for game 3, there was a little conversation about serve. I think the umpire was saying you need to make sure you remove your free arm. I don't know, I haven't noticed any peculiar serves. Sometimes from our angle, it's a little tougher to see.
Love 1.
It's a little riskier shot to play the short side of the table. Can't remember the last time I've seen the sleeve rolled up like that. It might just be the new uniforms of the Japanese team that makes it more noticeable.
Well, perhaps she's very hot down there under the lights and the humidity. We had one player in England, Matthew Side.
Oh, big fan.
He used to have one normal sleeve and he used to cut off half on his plain sleeve.
I love it. Mix it up. Tear up the shirt. There's the inside out forehand I've been waiting for. It's part of her repertoire, the step around from the backhand corner. Sometimes she'll even bend it away a bit more, but it's quite difficult to do against a heavy chop deep on the table. I think there's going to be a timeout here. Yep, RI Myong Sun. She's trying all sorts of different things to break up the rhythm. Started to lift the racket, come around the outside of the ball.
Ishikawa's reading it so well, though.
This is something I like right here, Jill. The conversation with the team. You've got Kim Song-hee, just finished a very successful game 1. And also, of course, a defender. On the Japanese side, it's Murakami Yasukazu. Of course, Misaka Wakamiya right there. Also left-handed, but using the medium pips on the backhand. You know, Kim Song-hee had a little bit more success using her attacks. Pretty much all of today. My memory of the last encounter for Singapore versus Korea DPR, RI Myong Sun was not quite as aggressive with the forehand attack as Kim Song-hee. Ishikawa's been very focused on her serve and receive game, very patient throughout. Not a lot of quick points going the way of RI Myong Sun. the topspin drives her back. It looks like a little bit of fatigue from Kasumi Ishikawa after all those shots. It's a well-placed shot, down low into the middle. Jill, what do you think they talked about? RI Myong Sun, what do you think she's going to be changing tactically out here?
Well, I think Ishikawa has got used to her defense and is playing her well, moving it round, just keep getting in, topspin, topspin. And it's very difficult for RI to actually get in, but I think her coach will say, well, look, you've got to try and get in yourself just to mix it up a little bit, because otherwise Ishikawa knows what's coming. So you've got to have an element of surprise.
Come back into the table a little bit?
Possibly, but look for one to attack.
Ah, I see, get the aggressive side in. Which is interesting because she'd been trying it a whole lot so far, and her percentages are less than desirable. She's missed many forehand attacks in the last few games.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to go for the attacks, even if you don't get the point, just to keep your opponent guessing.
Right, a little psychological warfare.
5-3.
Kasumi Ishikawa really feels to be in control here. I mean, she hasn't felt the pressure to rush shots, take shots that aren't there.
She's playing very sensibly. She's just top spinning up, just waiting for the right one.
And after two skylobs going completely out of frame, the crowd absolutely delighted to see those shots. But finally, the attempted chop on the backhand side goes wide. Look at that ball. Sort of fill in the blanks. Even the bounce is a good 3 feet over the head of Kasumi Ishikawa. Looked like it hit her thumb there. I don't know if I've seen that from RI Myong Sun. It wasn't a blast either. Sort of a steady loop. I find it very interesting watching the body language of Kasumi Ishikawa. I've seen her frustrated before, but she still seems pretty cool. I think positivity is one thing the Japanese team reinforces, especially on the women's side. Ooh!
8-4.
That was what an unusual combination. The complete bend out of the way, still getting hit in the head and immediately making a fist for the excitement of winning the point. Yes, I got hit in the head, but I won the point, yes. .40 plus, not that much heavier than the 40. That's the inside-out forehand. This time it's so wide, exiting the side of the table. RI Myong Sun can't even reach it. So with no timeouts left, the fishing game has been trouble. Kasumi Ishikawa is just so steady out there. Timing it just right, shot selection, and we've got 6 match points here. Kasumi Ishikawa 1 point away from evening up the overall team score. But not yet. From middle to middle. Keep going back to the tightrope, the last few steps. The focus has to be there. Powerful forehand does it, and a jumping, thrilled Kasumi Ishikawa. 3 straight games to to help out her teammate Mima Ito and the rest of the gang. It's tied up at 1 match each. We'll be back for the third singles. It's going to be the Queen of Hearts, or I guess the Queen of Tokyo anyway, Queen of Japan, Ai Fukuhara, playing Ri Myong just after this match 3. Stay here.